welcome to another episode of All Elite Arcade. It is Monday, the day we talk video games here at AEW Games. I am here, Evil Uno, as always, with my good friend, the Chugs. How are you today?
Yes, Uno, I'm doing good. I got to play a fair amount of video games this week. It's never enough. But it was a good amount. How about you, man?
I've been playing, you know what? I surprisingly got to play a lot of stuff, and unlike my usual games of play, or my days of play rather, a lot of co-op stuff today, which I'm very excited to talk about.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I got to play a fair amount too, including a little bit of co-op, but in the sense of taking turns, which I'll jump into in a second. But Uno, I just want to show anyone who's watching this on YouTube right now, how great is this t-shirt?
Whoa, look at this Bark Souls t-shirt.
Bark Souls coming soon. No, my brother has a fourth wall store, and he has so many awesome t-shirts like this. This one's probably my favorite.
He makes these?
Yeah. He makes these and sells them. Yeah.
That's incredible. In case you're only on audio, he's wearing a Dark Souls shirt that says Bark Souls, and it's a corgi holding a PlayStation controller. It's adorable. In a piece of armor. It looks wonderful.
Yeah, in an armor.
It looks wonderful.
It's amazing.
You know what? Can we shout him out? Can we shout the store? Because I didn't know you could buy them.
Yeah. It's well, first of all, you can find all of it because there's links to it and stuff. But Be Fresh Games is the name of his Twitch store, which is also the name of his fourth wall store as well. So twitch.tv/Be Fresh Games. He's a streamer. He's got incredible merch on there. I love him to death. So yeah, let's shout him out.
Yeah, support your own. Support your own. Go check out that Bark Souls shirt. What about video games? What you've been playing this week?
Yeah. So once again, I always bring it up, but Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket still going strong. Again, not only am I so interested in all the new cards that are coming out with different attacks and things like that, but seriously, the Pokemon tools or like supporter cards that have been added is the most fascinating to me, just because it gives you so many different ways about playing. Of like, if one character or one Pokemon gets knocked out, then all of your energy goes to another Pokemon, or if this Pokemon gets knocked out, then it does like 50 or 60 damage to another Pokemon. There's just so many cool. I'm noticing more and more how many different strategies you could have with this card game. So I'm still working on it, but absolutely loving that game. And I just brought up my brother, so I'm going to bring him up again. Me and my brother were taking turns playing some games this past weekend. And I had mentioned before that we were going through and playing Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, where we actually finished Crash 2 and Crash 3. Well, we finally decided to go back and play some Crash Bandicoot 1 and the Insane Trilogy. And again, I can't recommend the Crash games enough. I know everyone, or for the most part, everyone at least knows about Crash Bandicoot, but all the games are just so good. I love the boss fights. I love the graphical redesigns for the remakes and remasters. It's just such a great game. And yeah, Crash Bandicoot is so much fun. And I love too, there's this one level, which everyone probably, or a lot of people probably know this, but there's this really, really tricky level where you're on like this bridge and it's a straight shot. And there's just so many areas for you to fall. There's enemies, there's boards that collapse after a certain amount of time. There's boards that collapse if you just walk on them. But there's a little trick where you could jump up over onto the ropes on the side of the bridge and just walk to the end of the map. but you do have to be very careful, because if you go a little bit too far to the right or a little bit too far to the left, you'll fall off. But the Crash Bandicoot games are so awesome, so amazing.
I always heard the first one is the hardest of them all too.
The first one's pretty tricky, and I think too that's because you're limited on your moves. Like, again, it's so interesting the way that we played it in order. But obviously, from Crash 1, 2, and 3, Crash 1 is the fundamentals, the basics. Crash 2, you get a little bit of more seasoning. Crash 3, you can do like a million different things and unlock all these cool different moves. So yeah, Crash 1 is pretty tricky. But believe it or not, and maybe this is because me and my brother have played Crash 1 so many times, but we ended up with the most lives at the end of that level. I think at the end of Crash 1, we had close to like 90 lives. It was just, we just stacked them up, whereas Crash 2 and 3 was a little bit different. But yes, Crash 1, definitely pretty tricky. In addition to that, I know I've mentioned before that I am still going through the Liza P. Overture DLC.
That's right.
Well, Uno, not this week, but I think next week I will be able to say that I finished the DLC. At least I hope so. Again, I have heard rumblings and rumors that the final boss in the Liza P. Overture DLC is unbelievable. I've heard people compare it to like Liza P's version of Radon, which if that's the case, I'm a little bit worried. But yeah, I think I got to the absolute very end. So I made it to this point, minor spoilers, where I got to Rose Estate, which is where you've been trying to get to the entire time. I finally interacted with the legendary stalker Leia at this point, and let me tell you, the Liza P DLC is just, again, it's absolutely incredible. I got through the final area, and right now, too, the tension that's building for this final boss. First of all, I get there to the final Stargazer. It warns me, and it tells me that this is the point of no return. Like, after this, you cannot go back and do anything else, complete any side quests or anything like that. And in addition to that, you hear these swords, like, clanging in the background, and then this really, really long hallway. So I haven't even looked and seen what the final boss looks like, but to say I'm excited and also incredibly nervous would be an understatement. But hopefully next week I'll be able to say that I finished that DLC and then give a review or thoughts of what that final boss is. And after that, really, the only other thing I've gotten the chance to play a fair amount of was I jumped back into Sea of Stars on my Steam Deck OLED. So again, I've mentioned Sea of Stars before. It's this beautiful, amazing turn-based RPG with a very, very strong retro feel. I really feel like if you like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI, that Sea of Stars is right up your alley. It's a really, really great story. Again, the artwork is just beautiful. The music is incredible. I have the soundtrack downloaded on my phone. And again, I love the turn-based aspect of this game as far as timing your attacks. So very similar to Expedition 33, or more specifically, very similar to Mario RPG. That would be my best way to compare it. Where you do really have to pay attention within these fights. And some of the fights can be tricky as well. If you don't have your guards down, if you don't have your timed attacks to do even more damage, you might be in trouble. But again, it's a beautiful, beautiful turn-based RPG. I know Uno, in addition to recommending Halo Reach, at some point, I feel like you'd really, really love Sea of Stars. Playing Sea of Stars again is just getting me even more excited as well to jump into Expedition 33 after the Liza P. Overture DLC. But yeah, made a little progress there. And I know Sea of Stars as well, that's like a 30-hour game. And if you want to 100% the game, it's like a 40-plus hour game. So there's a ton of content here. Super, super fun turn-based RPG, especially now with everyone being so hyped about that genre with Expedition 33. It's a great time to jump into it. So yeah, Sea of Stars, incredible turn-based RPG. I'm absolutely loving it. But yeah, that's been about it for me this week, Uno.
Well, I'll definitely be adding it to my list because the first game I'd like to talk about is the game that you actually challenged me to play, and that's Halo Reach. And so I made a point to play it this week. Surprisingly, got to tack on a friend to it for once. Very rarely do I play co-op games or I get to play multiplayer games, and it just happened that both me and my friend's schedule had opened up at around the same time. So I do want to say I only got to play an hour of Halo Reach because, and I will sound so stupid talking about this because I should have known. I have the Halo Championship Edition, the one that has Halo Reach, ODST, and then Halo 1 to 3, I believe, is what is in there. And the menu it's composed of everything. There's a multiplayer mode, but the multiplayer mode only sets you to custom maps or multiplayer against each other. And I kept looking online that there was a co-op mode. So for about an hour, I looked around on how to initiate a co-op mode in campaign, not realizing that all it took was for him to join my game and I just start the campaign. I just could not find the menu item to I was like, where is the co-op mode? It has campaign. It does not have co-op mode. And I spent 45 minutes to an hour trying to figure that out. And then talking to you today, I didn't realize this, but all the Halo games have 2-player co-op campaign, which,
all of them.
Which honestly, if I was an Xbox guy at the time, I think would have made this my favorite series of all time, because there's almost no first-person campaigns that are co-op. So I'm very excited to get further. I'm only an hour in. We landed the chopper. We started going through the village. I've done some shooting and stuff, but I don't think I'm in the meat of what the story is, or neither the meat of the content yet. I am enjoying it. It's also, how old is Reach now? 15 years old?
Oh man, it's got to be. It might even be. Yeah, maybe 15 years. I do know, I don't remember the exact release date, but I do know that Halo Reach was Bungie's swan song. That was the final Halo game that Bungie made until it went to 343 Studios. So it's been a while.
They made ODST after, 343 made ODST afterwards, and that's the, I think.
No. So ODST was actually before Reach. So
Really?
Reach really was the final Bungie game, and then 343 jumped into Halo 4. That was when the new studio
that makes
took
sense.
charge of the game.
I'm gonna look it up right now because I need to know, because I need to make a point.
I know, I'm curious too.
Halo Reach came out in 2010, so 15 years.
15. You nailed it. You nailed it.
A 15-year-old game, and I know that on PC you get cleaner versions of it, and you get upscaled, and I think the Championship Edition had some updates to it. But for a 15-year-old game, this game is gorgeous. It's kind of unreal looking back to a game that's 15 years old and realizing like it's really not that far from what we get current gen, with some exceptions. Obviously I think Death Stranding has insane mocap, and that alone will probably differentiate it on a character-to-character basis. But like, playing this game, it is seamless. It runs so well. It looks incredible on my computer. I'm actually genuinely excited to play more of it, because now that I have the feel of the combat, I'm like, oh yes, I remember playing Halo 2. I remember playing Infinite. I really want to get into this. So I will be talking about more Halo Reach in the future, because I am excited to complete it.
I can't wait, because again, you just talking about Reach and then getting me to think about the Master Chief Collection. It's an unbelievable deal. You get Halo Reach, Halo Combat Evolved, Original and Anniversary, Halo 2 Original and Anniversary, Halo 3 ODST, and then Halo 3.
Do you get the tactics game in there? I can't remember.
You do get Halo 3 ODST and then Halo 3. So I think it's all the first person games. But yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, with all the multiplayers, all the firefight modes, all the campaigns, it's so cool that it exists.
And you can on PC you can heavily mod it too, which like I was looking into mods, and they're pretty unreal. I didn't want to touch it quite yet, but that might be a future episode of this, when I ultimately open up the box of mods as well. So I've been playing Halo Reach. I really enjoyed it. I've also been playing more co-op stuff, including last Monday on AEW Games on our Twitch stream with Madden and Cutler. I played Peak. Peak is a first-person climbing game, but it's more multiplayer focused. So the way it works is that you crash land on an island. The island changes every single week. It's randomly generated, and so you have a week to try and get to the peak of this island. It goes in layers. When you think you've reached a peak, it's actually the first peak of like, I think 4 or maybe more mountains, essentially. So like it's once you reach the peak, it unfogs the next step. You go on and you go on, you go on. I have not reached further than the first peak. The second peak I've still not accessed. But I played about an hour and a half with that on Twitch stream, and I liked it so much in multiplayer that I went and played it solo for an extra 4 hours. It is extremely calming. Honestly, it's a very fun game to just add music to, I find. And I really enjoy, much like in Death Stranding, how I enjoyed like maneuvering, finding my path, creating roads and stuff. I'm really enjoying like finding what path to climb up the mountain. You have to find these suitcases to use tools. So it could be food, it could be bandages, but they have tools like a rope cannon, so you can shoot a rope and then climb a rope upwards. There's like a hook that you can set into the wall if you're running out of stamina that gets you to rest and stuff. So I've been really enjoying like, okay, I'm going to save these, because I know if I go my path here, at some point there's this like flat surface that I know I can't climb. But if I use my rope cannon, I can climb midway, and then I can climb the rest of it and maybe make that. So I've been really enjoying like the small details of trying to figure out my route, figure out what's the best terrain to go to. And it's been very enjoyable. And it's even more enjoyable in co-op because obviously you have people who can share with you what's going on. But also there's a second mechanism where I can revive a person when they fall off if they fall off near me, and there's a timer. And there's also a helping hand situation. So someone can jump on my head and get slightly higher. So you can build a totem.
Oh, okay.
You can build a totem of people and go up there. And then once you're up on a higher ledge, you can extend your hand, essentially shortening the distance that you have to climb. So it makes it a little easier. And honestly, it makes for a very, very fun co-op experience. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. It's a very cute game. It's blowing up on Twitch, or at least it was like about a month ago. A great co-op game. If you haven't played it, it's on Steam right now. And you pay, I think it's like $10 to play, which is absolutely nothing for a game of this sort. So go try Peak if you get to. And then I have two games to talk about. Another one's a co-op game that I've been waiting to play since it came out. I actually played through the tutorial 3 times, and each time I've decided, maybe not today. This is not for me. But I have finally, and because a lot of people have asked me to do this, I'm finally playing Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so I went through so once again, I went through the entire tutorial, this time with a friend. Same friend that I played Halo Reach with. And I'm now 5 hours in, and so this is a friend I used to play Divinity Original Sin 2 with, and so we've played the CRPG co-op style. We like that experience, so we were trying to find a similar experience. And now that I'm 5 hours in, I now remember why I stopped each time. It is so daunting. Every time I enter a city and I realize I can have conversations with everyone, and I can either kill them, and there are options with most people, and I don't fully understand the world yet. So what I interact typically when I play these games, I play it safe. You know, I try to be a good guy. I try not to rustle some feathers. But for whatever reason, when I play with my friend at these games, we're trying to one-up each other on who can be the worst person. And so even within 5 hours, half of this village of druids hate me. And I think I'm very certain I'm going to have to end up killing the entire village at some point. Anyways, it is 5 hours. I feel like I've only scratched the surface, but I'm starting to understand why people love this game so much. It's crazy. The variety of stuff that you can have. I can't even imagine the coding involved to figure out and keep track of the route you're taking. Like that branching tree of dialogue that's written out somewhere, and also how it affects things, must be an insane document to look at, because it is crazy to think how I was one type of character, my friend was another type of character, and if I interacted with someone, they would be mean to me, or they wouldn't discuss with me some stuff. But if I walked away and my partner went with and it was a different race or a different class, they would have a different interaction with them. And then on top of that, you had the layers of, like, once you're in there, based on your dice roll, you can pass, you can fail at certain checks. You can also have skills that, like I had animal handling, so every animal I was talking down and trying to, like, essentially add to my court of animals, because now I've got like a dog following me, all kinds of stuff. But it's great. I am so fascinated, more so about how much work had to be put into figuring out what affects what. No wonder this game took forever to do, and no wonder that, like, it's probably going to take another decade before we ever see another Baldur's Gate game again.
Oh my God, easily. It seriously is. No matter how long that it took, even say, like you said, 10 years, it's unbelievable that this game even exists.
Yes.
Like the amount of content packed in. And I'm so glad too that you're playing it, because Uno, I've been meaning forever. I think after I finish Sea of Stars on my Steam Deck, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be my Steam Deck game. But again, not to bring my brother up again, but he put close to 200 hours in that game and said it was his game of the year. He loved it, loved every second of it. And then he did warn me. He said, trust me though, when you get into it, when you get into the meat of it, you're going to be just obsessed. It's all you're going to think about, all you're going to want to play.
I'm not surprised at all. And I was trying to, when talking with my friend, I was talking about Disco Elysium, which is another CRPG.
Oh.
But that's like, it's funny because when I played Disco Elysium, I think that's a 20-hour experience. I felt like, oh my God, it is so much content. I'll never be able to see it. It's incredible how much they packed. And then I realized that like this game is that times 10.
Yeah.
Multiple maps, multiple worlds. Instead of 2 main characters, there's 8 plus any custom character you want to make and extra characters you could find on the way. It's insane the variety of stuff you can play in that game. Like I could see myself play 200 hours and then decide to restart from scratch playing one of their pre-written characters because I know they have an entire different mission strain and probably effect on everything too. Even now, 5 hours in, I've already had the option to kill 2 of my main characters, and I genuinely considered it because I thought they were good reasons to do it, but I was like, no, they're main characters. I murder them now. I'll never see them again. It's fascinating to think that a game is created with so much content, and it works well. Like that's the hardest part of all is that people are loving it, and it's from my understanding, from minute 1 all the way to minute 200, 300, it's supposedly a incredible time. So I'm very excited to play more of that very, very soon. And then finally, not co-op, but I am so close, I think, to finishing Donkey Kong. I had an indication. One, I filled up the entire tree of skills. So that's an indication that I'm near the end. And then I think the boss just entered in his last, because the boss essentially skips to the next level and teases you. From my understanding, from what I've seen in the level, the next time I jump in deeper to the earth will be the final boss. That is the indication I've gotten. I'm so excited to get there, but I'm also, this is the evil Una way, which is the worst way of playing video games. I can't get myself to jump into that hole until I've completed everything. The one thing, though, for Donkey Kong is I'm not that far. I made sure every single level before I left, I cleaned out all the bananas, cleaned out all the phosphorus. Wow. So I'm almost at 100% of what I need to do before I jump in. So I think next week I'll be able to talk about the ending of Donkey Kong, which I was told, if you like the entirety of the game, the ending's even better. So very excited to talk about that next week.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it for video games for me this week. What about you, Chuck? Same as well?
Yeah, that's about it for me as well, Uno.
Okay, well then next week I'll be talking Donkey Kong, and then I wanted to talk about it this week, but Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is downloaded on my Switch 2 as well. That is
my God.
Yes.
Uno, I played that.
Oh, you did?
I am so glad you brought that up. Holy cow. I can't believe that slipped my mind. Yes, I have played Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Dude, have you touched it yet?
No, not yet. So I haven't downloaded it. I was waiting for Donkey Kong to finish.
Oh, dude, it's incredible. Like all the really, really good reviews this game has gotten is completely worthwhile. The combat is so fun. It's so creative. There's so many different things you can do and use. The boss fights are challenging but fair.
So I've heard.
Like, it's definitely not an easy game. The platforming is great too. Dude, I can't wait to continue playing this game because yes, I started it this week as well, playing a little bit of it. Once again, with my brother. We really wanted to check the game out. So we were taking turns in between chapters. But man, there's different upgrades you can get. Like I said, different moves you could use. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is an awesome 2D action game. I will 1,000% be finishing it. And Uno, I know you're going to love it. The level design is great. It's really good. Really good.
I've been very excited for it. I remember the trailer dropping in the summer, and I was so excited that it was coming out so early. I now have it. I just have not touched it. I have a lot of trouble coming up, though, so I definitely, next week, both of us will be talking more Ragebound.
Yes.
I'm very excited for that. And then there's a ton of other stuff that came out, but we'll talk about it next week because before we finish this episode, we actually have some news to talk about, and it happens right after this. Welcome back to the All Elite Arcade Podcast. It's time to talk the news of the week, and we actually have a heavy Nintendo week because Nintendo, once again, they just did a third-party drop last week with the Nintendo Direct. Well, this week they've done another drop, this time on their Nindies, or Indie World now, as it is called. It used to be called Nindies. They dropped an Indie World showcase of about 15 minutes, and so I would like to talk about a little bit of the stuff they have shown. It actually opened with a pretty meaty trailer for Mina the Hollower, which we have already seen, I believe, on the last Switch Direct in the summer, like the proper Nintendo Direct, I believe.
Yeah.
This is Yacht Club Games. You might know them as the people that made Shovel Knight. This is their next big game, right up my alley. 16-bit graphics, incredible color palette on it. You play as Mina, and it starts October 31st, available on Switch 1, Switch 2. We're very close to playing it. Trailer looked incredible. It by far, no wonder they started with it, because I think still by the end of this Indie World Showcase, this was still the game I wanted to play the most.
Yeah, Yacht Club Games is just, man, Shovel Knight is one of my favorite 2D platformers I've played in years. So it's an incredible game. So yeah, I've been so excited for them to make another project. This looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. Then there's obviously this is just indie focused, so a lot of these games we're seeing first time ever or first time ever, publishers or developers, but there's some actually reoccurring ones. So first they showed Well Dweller, which is going to be a open world third party action game, kind of like oh my god, what is that game? It's going to come back to me. But anyways, it's by Top Hat Games. They've made a handful of very good games most recently, and that comes out in 2026, where you play like a little bird with a matchstick, and you essentially do combat and solve puzzles around the world. There was Neverway, that one's one of the ones I'm most excited for. It's an RPG, pixel art RPG, but it has a 16-bit Zelda style. It features the pixel artist that made Celeste. So Celeste, an incredible pixel art game. And the music composer from both Fez and Hyper Light Drifter, both incredible soundtracks as well. So Neverway will be coming out on Nintendo Switch. So Switch 1, and then probably by Switch 2 as well, in 2026. They had a same-day drop called Is This Seat Taken?, which is kind of it's kind of like chess. It's not chess, but imagine a chessboard, but the chessboard is populated with, like, let's say you're in a bus, right? It's a bus, and the chessboard is where everyone is seated, and it will pose you some questions, and you have to answer them. So, for example, it'll say, be the cheese between two buns, or be the meat between two buns. And then your character, you have to plop them in between two characters, and that will essentially solve the puzzle. So it's a little like a person manager, because you're interacting with people around you, but while solving little indication clues, and solving a little puzzle. It looks really neat, and also dropped the day that this came out. So this is now available on PC and Switch. It's called Is This Seat Taken?
Beautiful. Love me a good shadow drop. Good shadow drop.
Surprisingly, not that many in there. And just before we get into it, a lot of people were rumored that Silksong would be on this. It did not show up, and it did not get shadow dropped. I'm of the belief, and we'll talk about it very shortly. It will be announced on Xbox. There's no way I think Switch is the ones that announced it at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
They showed Content Warning, which was a co-op multiplayer game on Steam, is now coming to Switch. That is the viral game where you essentially go into a horror game, but your characters have cameras, and the whole goal is to try and capture horrifying moments in short clips while you have batteries on your camera, and then produce that content for YouTube and make enough money to go to the next level. It's surprisingly very fun. A mechanism that I thought, like, oh, that's not for me. I played a bunch of it on Steam. It's now coming to Switch and Switch 2. It will be coming out in 2026.
Nice.
Then Devolver Digital's Ball Pit, which is a game that I played the demo of when we were talking about the Steam Next Fest, is finally coming out this year. It will be coming out on Switch October 15 and Switch 2 shortly after. I assume they have to optimize some stuff to make it slightly better for Switch 2. It's an action roguelike game inspired by Loop Hero and Vampire Survivors, where it used the model of Breakout, which is like that Pong breaking blocks mechanism, except all of the blocks are enemies. And you essentially change the ball to 60 different balls that you could acquire through your route. And based on the balls you have, they can meld together into new balls, giving you new strengths. So it's a roguelike, but it is using that breakdown mechanic. And then when you go back to your main world, it is a kind of a village sim where you lay out your village and let's say you drop 4 crops. That gives you 4 armor on your run. And it's all a nice, neat little package. I really enjoyed the demo. Demo's still available out there. I believe it is on PC. I do not know if they added it to Switch quite yet, but we don't have to wait very long because we can now play that game in the fall, October 15 on Switch, and slightly after on Switch too. Ultimate Sheep Raccoon, which I believe is the sequel to Ultimate Chicken Horse, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yes, I played that. That game's awesome.
Yeah, so they have a sequel coming out. This time, instead of just running around, you are on bicycles. So it's a party game up to 8 players, including it's essentially a wacky obstacle race where you traverse a large obstacle race in a 2D racing style, so side to side, a lot of jumping, a lot of maneuvering around things. And then as you play, if there's 8 of you, you're able to lay down traps and lay down obstacles to make the course harder. But by the time you loop back around, the things you lay down are also there for you to traverse. So very interesting. I didn't expect to see a sequel of this, but it will be coming out in winter of this year on both Switch and Switch 2.
Oh, let's go.
Another thing I really want to talk about is they did a shadow drop on Switch 2. You might be excited about this one because I know I'm downloading it. UFO 50 is now on Switch 2. Yes. If you did not know, that is well worth your time. 50 games, incredible caliber. And honestly, the Switch 2 is probably a great way to play it if you weren't playing it on Steam Deck already.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, other than PC and like you said, Steam Deck, UFO 50 is like a perfect game for the Switch 2. So if you're looking for a new title and you have not checked out UFO 50, there's 50 games. 50 games. It's so worth it. So worth it.
And then a couple other stuff. They dropped another shadow drop called Tiny Bookshop, where you run a little bookshop. It's a bookshop simulator, but it features cute little characters. So it's a little cozy management game. Also, Strange Antiquities, which is the sequel of a game I loved a ton from 2 years ago called Strange Horticulture. Essentially, you run a shop of antiquities and you are trying to resolve people's issues. They might come in here and say, hey, I'm sleepy and I've been dreaming about horses, keep having this nightmare about horses. Well, then you would look through a bunch of your books to find an item that could solve their curse, and you give that to them. There's also multiple branching paths. Obviously, you don't want to help everyone, and so it has its own story as well. That is coming out on September 17th. And then the final big game they showed was a indie game called Glaciered, which will be coming out on Switch 2 this holiday, which was a very weird way to say this, but it was like Echo the Dolphin 3D, except it is a fighting third-person action game. Where you are like this sea creature who is defending the oceans, and as you defeat other, swordfish, manta rays, and so on and so forth, as you are defeating them, you are able to level up your character and essentially morph your character to have extra fins or, have specific weapons, and essentially branch your evolution in a way that you become the strongest guardian of the oceans. That is coming out in winter of this year. It looks, honestly, odd choice for a game, but it did look very fun. Probably getting added to my list. That's called Glaciered.
Yeah, I was going to say, I definitely want to add this one to the list. This seems so interesting.
And that's it for the Nintendo Indies. I did switch. I did not mention all of them. There was maybe another 10 that were displayed. If there's anything that you think we did not mention that looked incredible, do let us know. YouTube.com/AEW Games. Get in our comments and let us know right now.
Right now.
That is not it for news this week. We also have other stuff for Nintendo. Nintendo has announced that they are making a Super Mario TV show geared toward children, which I saw all Mario shows are geared towards children, but this one especially so. It's a claymation show, And the fascinating thing with this claymation show is that they're not only making it a claymation show, they're making building blocks for children, like less than 5 years old children. Nintendo official children blocks, and they're also amiibos. So not only are they, a children's block game geared towards this claymation show, these blocks can now be used on your Switch to give you extra gear, to give you extra components in your video games, as they will have amiibo functionality. Not surprising. Honestly, Nintendo could probably make 20 new children's show, and I think they would all be happily invited.
Yep. Every single one of them. And they're all going to be great shows. Great shows. Nintendo doesn't miss when it comes to that. They're so careful with their IPs. I'm sure this kid's show, this claymation show, is going to be great. I love claymation, so I really, really can't wait to check it out.
Oh yeah, I think claymation as an art form is incredible. It's very, very cool. And then also, like, if we were going to open this up to larger IPs that Nintendo has, Mario's the obvious first one, but do you have a second you think would make a great children's claymation show?
Oh, I do think, of course, my brain immediately went to The Legend of Zelda,
yes.
But I think even more so as a kid's show, I really do think Donkey Kong would just be just an amazing claymation show. I think that'd be so cool to see.
Bring back the 2000s 3D Donkey Kong show, which is not good. Yes. I will say is not a good show, but bring it back in claymation. My guess, honestly, just because I think they've done it, they've done Yarn, they've done all kinds of other stuff, but I think Kirby or Yoshi would really help themselves to this as well. I think they would be a natural fit to the claymation style.
Absolutely.
And then this final one I wanted to talk about is in relation to Silksong, because a lot of people have been questioning, when will Silksong come out? When will we see more about it? Well, initially, when it was announced, I believe it was announced on a Switch Direct, saying that it was coming out, or maybe it was an Xbox Direct. More recently, it was attached directly with the ROG Xbox handheld, the Ally. This week, the first portable third-party Xbox device has popped up online, suggesting that we're only about 2 months away from playing it. It would seem that pre-orders for the game will start on August 20th.
Yep.
And that it will launch on October 16th. It will be 509, so that we only got the euros as a leak. So it will be 599 euros for the base set, and 899 euros. Which is a huge leap up for the premium Xbox Ally X. Now, I believe that has an OLED screen instead of LED, and I believe it has more space.
Probably, yeah. My guess immediately was like a 1 terabyte SSD, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's got to be a lot.
It has to, because to have a 300 euro hike, I think it's got to be OLED, and it probably has to have more space on it as well. It has been said that it will come out in October, and this kind of adds up, because August 20th pre-orders would make sense, because, and I wanted to say this because I'm happy enough to say that I probably will get to do this. The Xbox Ally will be playable at Gamescom this year.
Yes.
And will be playable with Silksong at Gamescom this year. And the reason I'm excited to say this is because your boy Evil Uno is going to Gamescom this year.
Yes. So it's going to be so cool.
So maybe 2 weeks from now, I'll be able to tell you firsthand if Silksong is cool or not.
Oh, that'd be incredible. That'd be so. I can't wait to hear it. And because pretty much it's a guarantee it's going to be incredible. I'm just as interested, though, Uno, in hearing what you think about like the ergonomics of the handheld itself, because it looks really comfortable. The Xbox handheld does look really, really comfortable. So, but man, like you said about this news, it's Silksong is upon us, everybody. Silksong is upon us.
I mean, the developers had already said that it was coming before Christmas, and they weren't locked to a console. I think they are. I think that's definitely going to happen with the Ally. I think it has to come out before the Ally does. So next 2 months, maybe.
Yep.
I'm very
think
excited.
so.
And then on the Ally side, I really, yes, I want the ergonomics, but I'm very curious about the weight of it. Now that I'm playing Switch 2 compared to Steam Deck, and the weight is much lighter, I'd like for the Ally to be light as well. But we'll see. We shall see. I will have firsthand knowledge of it by the end of this month. So let me calculate this. 3 episodes from now, I will have firsthand knowledge about it. We'll get to talk about it right here on the All Elite Arcade podcast. Are you excited? Will you be getting an ROG Ally? Will you be getting Silksong? Let us know in the comments down below. YouTube.com/AEW Games. That is where you find the video format of our podcast, as well as the best place to see, our beautiful faces. Or at least, part of my beautiful face. It's mostly covered. So, but that's it for our news for this week. But that is not it for our episode, because right after this break, we go on to our favorite segment of the show. That's right. The mailbox happens right after this. Welcome back. It's time for our favorite segment of the show, brought to you by our friends at upperdeck.com. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025's Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autographs, memorabilia, and premium tech inserts. As always, we have a pack today of the 2025. There it is on camera.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube.com/AEW Games if you want to see that. Of the 2025 AEW packs. And it starts with, we've got Darby Allin with a flamethrower. Well, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. What an intro card.
Our man Excalibur. Kyle O'Reilly. There he is.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
There is Saraya and Harley Cameron. Platinum Max Caster. A very shiny Yuta here, who's yelling. It looks
very shiny Yuta.
There's 3 of his heads, and it looks like he's that meme of the 3 wolves yelling at a moon. We've got an MJF playable card here. He's the ace. We've got Pac, the bastard. I think I could say that on a podcast. Mercedes Moné.
Nice.
Konosuke Takeshita. The Hounds of Hell, or the House of Black, if you will, and of course our good friend Jeff Jarrett,
yes,
video game connoisseur.
Oh yeah,
and a great individual. And here we are. There it is. Yes. All of the AEW packs. You can get all of those, as well as other sports memorabilia and packs of all sorts of sports cards. Go to upperdeck.com to learn more. Thank you to Upper Deck for sponsoring this episode. We have 3 questions as always today, and it starts with our friend Garrett. Garrett says, "Hey, Chugs and Uno, what 4 games are on your Mount Rushmore of indie games?" Ooh.
Oh my God, that's a good question.
That's a tough one.
Shoot. Okay, Uno, I'll try.
Yes, please.
If you want. So the one immediately that comes to mind, of course, is Hollow Knight. That is one of my favorite games of all time. Team Cherry is incredible. It got me into Metroidvanias. So yeah, Hollow Knight for sure. I would say another one is Undertale. For sure. Yep. I remember playing that game for the first time and just being so blown away at the idea of you could go through the entire game and like not attack anybody or not kill anybody, and just how you can get different endings and different experiences. Again, the music in Undertale is so good. That was such an original, awesome, fresh idea. So Hollow Knight, Undertale. Another one for me is Braid. Actually, because amazing puzzle game. But I remember Braid, I'm serious, actually talking about this now, I'm so glad. What a good question. Braid was one of the first games where I ever YouTubed like a video of people explaining the lore, because I remember hearing about the ending of Braid and how interesting it was. Mm-hmm. And I remember being like, wait, what does this exactly mean? And then going into this deep dive of like what the ending of Braid meant was so cool and just absolutely blew my mind. In addition to that, the art style, the music, the puzzles are amazing. So Braid's going to be up there for me as well. And then I think if I had to, oh man, this is so hard. I'm going to go with Ender Lilies, actually, because I still think about that game so much. Once again, it's another Metroidvania, but beautiful soundtrack, beautiful story, beautiful combat. I love Metroidvanias, so I'm going to give Ender Lilies some love as well. So I'm going to go, Hollow Knight, Undertale, Braid, Ender Lilies. That's going to be my top 4.
So there are definitely 2 I think I have no choice to put on there that you mentioned. I think I can't make a Mount Rushmore list of indies and not put Undertale and not put or not put Hollow Knight on there. They're absolutes to me. I think both of those one Undertale knocked my boots off and really kind of showed me that you could do anything with a game with very little, because in reality there's very little graphic work. It's a lot very basic concepts, and you could do a lot. You can do a lot with that for sure. And then Hollow Knight is probably the most polished Metroidvania of all time. The fact that every week we're still clamoring for the sequel is indication that it's an incredible game. The hard part now is trying to pick the other 2, because there's I have a list of games I would put up there and think about it. So I'm gonna mention some that won't make it, but I think Fez would make it.
Ooh, nice.
If Mount Rushmore was 10, I think Fez would make it. Super Meat Boy, which I think in a lot of ways is kind of the granddaddy of all indies, because that's the one that blew up when it was on Nintendo Xbox Online. Or whatever the indie service was called on the 360. I forget what it's called right now. But that's the one that blew up and kind of initiated the documentaries, which initiated more and more stuff. I think Cave Story would be up there as well for the same idea. But if I'm going to put 2, I'm going to go with things that I think are different from my previous listed games, and also games that I just think are 10s all across. So I think Stardew Valley is going to make it. Stardew Valley is probably the best farming sim I've ever played. One of the few farming sims I've ever cared about. They've updated. So I played the original release. I've not played any of the updates since. They put extra content. They put multiplayer. They put so much extra content in it. I have yet to go back because I spent 200 hours on the original game, and I know if I go back, I will have to spend 200 more, but it is an incredible, incredible game. And then my 4th game is tough. I think it'll be Outer Wilds.
Nice.
It was going to be that or Return of Obra Dinn. I think both of them are incredible, but I think Outer Wilds has an incredible premise. I don't want to tell you anything about it if you haven't played it. It's a space exploration game. Go check it out. It is. I've cried at this game, which is an indication of how good it is. If I hear the soundtrack sometimes, it brings me to tears. And it is genuinely a thought-provoking indie and an very impressive thing for someone's first game ever. I believe a group of 7 people from school made it. Super fascinated with what they're going to do next, and I think one of the best games to ever be created. So if you've never played Outer Wilds, go check that out. And then if we're going to add more Fez, Return of Obra Dinn, Super Meat Boy, all of those are very well worth your time, as well as all the things that were listed before as well.
And I thought of this when you were listing those great choices, by the way, but now a part of me is like, oh my God, I want to change my list and add Castle Crashers on there.
Oh my God, yes.
I was like, holy crap. When you started talking about Meat Boy and Fez, and I was talking about Braid, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot Castle Crashers. That's another one that I feel like would absolutely, if we were doing a top 10, that would also be there. There's been so many unbelievable indie games, and really not only are they amazing games, but it really has changed the industry. Like the perspective of what people like and want out of a video game. So yeah, thank God for indie games, man.
I think like 15 years ago, an indie game was just kind of like, oh cool, you'll see one every 3 weeks. Most of them are not good. Nowadays, I think predominantly the best games that get created are by single-minded developers or very small teams.
I agree.
Just crazy. I also want to mention, I think The Witness is up there as well. There's so many games. The list could be so long. I'm just so fascinated with the world of independent. I would put Blueprints as well.
Yes.
But I do feel weird adding a more recent game to a list. I think I need time removed for it, but that is up there as well. Great question.
Great question.
I know we mentioned like an extra 10, But do let us know what your four on Mount Rushmore would be for indie games in our comments down below. I would love to find out some hidden gems in there. YouTube.com/AEW Games, get in our comments. Thank you, Garrett. Great question.
Great question.
Caleb has our next question, and Caleb says, "Hi guys, why do you think it's been over a decade since we've seen a new Guitar Hero or Rock Band? And do you have any favorite memories from when those games were at their peak? Oh, do I ever?"
Oh man, yeah, great question as well. Uno, do you want to start?
So I starting with the first question, I think peripherals in a video game is now too expensive of a venture for most people. I'm not saying consoles were cheaper back in the day, because I think with inflation they weren't, but the fact that like a PlayStation is almost $1,000 and a handheld is out there and most people own more than one console, I think it's very hard for them to also then, you know, maybe spend $300 on a fake guitar and a fake drum set. Especially if you've been gaming for 20 years. I've bought those over 3 times, and so I could see why it would be hard to sell someone this time around to do it again. Now, do I believe it wouldn't sell? I think it would do incredible. I still think there's a space for it, especially now that Fortnite has all this music mode. I'm not entirely sure why they haven't sold a guitar peripheral or a drum set. And maybe they do and we're unaware of it. But there was a time at the high point of this was the coolest thing to do was play Guitar Hero.
Oh my God, yeah, for sure.
I don't know on your end, but when Guitar Hero 2 came out, I worked at a video game store at the time, and so I got to play it early on. And I lived with my roommate Frank, who rest in peace. But honestly, all we did is we would come back from our late night shift at midnight, and I'm not ashamed of saying this, but I would just wear wild jackets and wild hats, and we would just play through the entire night, acting like rock stars. Because back then, it seemed like unreal that you could play a guitar game. Now it feels old, but it felt so new and refreshing, in early 2000s. And I miss it. Honestly, it was a great icebreaker at a party. It was a great arcade game too, because they also built it into arcades as well. I genuinely think it would do well if it was brought back.
Yeah, I do too. And Uno, just like you, I've had so many good memories with Rock Band and things like that. I remember, but I've been thinking more about the question of why. I do agree with you in the sense of probably expenses is certainly a factor as well. But then I think back to when I was younger. I remember my dad, who's not really a gamer. When the Wii came out, he couldn't wait to get a Wii, and he couldn't wait to bowl and things like that. He was super, super into it. But that only lasted for like a couple months. And then Rock Band, it was the same thing. He's like, oh my God, this is so cool. I can play with the drums or the guitar. And then after a few months, it was like he moved on. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it was Rock Band and stuff had exploded with a bunch of people who are maybe casual gamers or who don't play a lot of video games. And then when that stopped, the market kind of drained down. I'm not totally sure, because I'm with you, Uno. I feel like if that did come back, there'd be a ton of gamers, casual gamers and non-gamers alike that would love to play this again. Because again, I have so many fond memories with my dad and my family of playing this game and just rocking out for hours. It's so much fun. Such a simplistic idea, but so successful. So yeah, I miss Rock Band. I wish we could bring it back.
Big time. I honestly, and I'd be curious also as a larger conversation, if anyone is capable of dropping this, or even maybe our team is capable of doing this. I would love to know what peripheral sales are like nowadays. Like there's gotta be steering wheels. There's gotta be fishing rods out there. There's gotta be other things. I would love to know what's currently on the market, and is it even like, are they making any type of money? Because I know fight sticks have gone, they were at one point a super hot seller, and now they've kind of dwindled down. It kind of goes hot with whatever game is out at the moment. I would love to see if I think a driving steering wheel must be the most obvious of them. I would love to see some stats on if that's doing well, because I think that's comparable in a sense, right? If that's doing terrible, then I could see why someone would not want to invest in a peripheral if you're the distributor and you're a developer at that point.
Sure. Yeah.
But hey, great question. Thank you so much. I don't know about you. I still could not beat Dragon Force when it came to Guitar Heroes. That
Yeah, no way.
by far the hardest thing ever. Thank you, Caleb, for the question.
Yes.
Last question, but not least, Adam says, hey guys, why is it that the big developers and publishers with all the money, brand power, and resources can still miss when it comes to making hit games? Do you think AAA studios just aren't built to create the next Balatro or Stardew Valley? That's a great question too.
That is a very, very good question. And this one's tricky because obviously there are some huge AAA studios who make these like once in a generation games, but I know that some people are looking for something different in gaming, and I don't know the first thing about the business side of creating or making a video game, but I do know that these newer AAA games cost sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars or millions and millions of dollars to make with these super large teams of thousands and thousands of people. And I'm sure sometimes with that much money on the line, they feel like they have to stay within this box or maybe make something that is quote unquote safe lots of times because they really, really want the game to sell or do well. But then lots of times gamers are looking for something just a little bit different. And I think with independent studios or smaller teams, first of all, there's more of a connection amongst the team. But second of all, they can experiment more with different ideas and thoughts or things that they're passionate about. So I think that maybe plays a factor. But Uno, what do you think?
So I completely agree with you. I think, having a report up also does not help. I think if you're a developer, you're also reporting to a publisher, and that publisher is reporting to, heads of Sony, heads of Xbox, heads of Activision, heads of so on and so forth. And I think that, unfortunately, if you don't fit within the box of what has made money in the last 5 years, they either won't greenlight your game or they'll give you pressure like, hey, there's a window we need to take it out at because we need to showcase that this game took less than 5 years and made this much revenue. And if you need more time, that's too bad because this is what we've aimed at. And I think that is definitely an issue in those games. I'm not saying AAA games can't be bad, can't be good though. There is, of course, an ample amount, but I think there's so many cooks in the kitchen that sometimes the AAA ones have too much bloat or end up, some people have a vision, others do not. They have to restructure things. There's firings and so on. Whereas small teams, I think what makes it so different for an indie game compared to a AAA game is that if you have one developer or a small pool of developers, they are obsessed with what they are creating. They're laser focused. The creator of Stardew, I believe Concerned Ape is the name of the developer of Stardew. Laser focused. One person working on this has a vision. No one can influence it. They just know what they're doing, right? And so you're not reporting to anyone. You're not scared of getting fired. You're not having anyone put pressure on you other than the fans. And I think that definitely helps the process in creating these games because the smaller the pool, the more you take ownership of a thing. And also for these people, if it is a success, if you're putting all your time and you're so obsessed with it, when it is then distributed and you're one of, let's say 8, you're one of 8 people who created this game. You have a sense of ownership. If you're in a AAA studio, you might be one of 7,000. And so it's very hard to feel like you have ownership on a project and give it your all. Whereas I think on an independent, you are giving it your all because that is what you were passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I hope you also feel the same out there, Adam. Thank you so much for that question. And thank you to everyone that has sent out questions. If you'd like your questions answered, you can send them to tbs.com/arcade mailbag. That is the form. You can send your questions to us. We take 3 every single episode, and we read them at the end of the week. What are you doing on Twitch this week, Chugs? You're probably finishing that life of pie.
I hope so. Well, based on when we are filming this, hopefully by the time this episode drops, I will have beaten Lies of P Overture in that DLC and fought that final boss. But if the boss is as hard as everyone says it is, maybe I'll still be trying attempts on this final boss for the Lies of P Overture DLC. But then after that, hopefully I'll be starting Expedition 33 this week on Twitch. My first playthrough of that game. I cannot wait. Twitch.tv/thechugs.
You can find me at Twitch.tv twitch.tv/eviluno the day this episode drops, which is Monday, August the 11th. I am holding a twitch.tv/eviluno stream for 24 hours straight. We are raising money for the Canadian Cancer Society. We do this every single year under the banner of fighting back wrestling with cancer. This year, we're attempting something just as ridiculous as doing 24 hours of stream. We're trying to get the world's longest match, which is 22 hours and 41 minutes, and we're going to try and do that live. Twitch.tv/eviluno for over 23 hours of pro wrestling, as well as Twitch streams. There's going to be all kinds of guests, but in the end, it's all for a good cause. We're trying to raise money for the Canadian Cancer Society, so do join us, help us out. It would be greatly appreciated. Twitch.tv/eviluno, Monday, August 11th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until the next day at about 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be hell, but it is for a good cause, and I'm willing to do that for a good cause. Do check us out. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that follow button, or wherever you may need to follow our podcast. Every single Monday, a new episode drops. Next Monday, a new episode will drop. The one after that, a new episode will drop. If you go to youtube.com/AEW Games, you can subscribe and get our video format at noon Eastern Standard Time on Mondays, as well as on Thursdays. You will get the Bronami Code. That is MXM's little show that they have some of our wrestling guests on, where they play video games. Just recently, I played Backyard Wrestling 2 on there, so do check that out. youtube.com/AEW Games. That is it for us this week. I hope you are all having a fantastic week, and I hope you are going to have a fantastic week in the future as well. We appreciate you all. We couldn't be able to do this without your support, and we will see you next week for another episode of All Elite Arcade. Bye bye.